The kids, Miss Angie had a great idea asking the kids to ask a question. And one of them said, why are there so many books in Psalm? How many chapters in Psalm? And so that was my first one. And one was, why don't we grow as old as other people? Are there dinosaurs in the Bible?
I have a good book about that.
Kids get very creative.
Yeah, so I have those questions that I'm working on getting the video to go with the question, because they videoed their question to me.
What was
I have
October's?
7. I don't remember.
Was Zacchaeus really a wee little man or something?
You could probably do a little video edit thing and put that with it, your answer.
Yeah,
That's
what
cool.
I'm working on. Yeah.
You know, that would make a great podcast. It's just with you and kids.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I'm
pray
seriously.
for me that I get it done. It's
Well,
been a couple of weeks. I got
what's-
sick. Well, no, I got sick, and I don't look good sick when I'm on video.
Well, you don't even have to do.
I don't look good on Zoom.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
tried that little filter. It
So
says look better.
this weekend, my project to
Oh, I
do
missed
is
that
that.
one.
Oh,
Okay.
There's a little thing on there. It says to.
So you're
Yeah.
basically going to videotape the kids.
No, they're already
I had to ask the
videotaped.
kids.
How
I'm
many
like,
you
where
gonna
is
do?
that thing?
I have 7.
That's funny.
And so they're one each. I've got the Maven kids, the Hunt kids, and somebody else. I don't remember. Oh, the Fisher kids. And so I'm taking each one of them and saying, hey, Bella, that was a great question, and then answering it. So
That is good. Now, what are you going to be doing while you're? I mean, are you just going to be sitting at a table?
yes,
Or okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And I've already researched the question, the answers. I'm just going to be telling them my answer like this.
You know, you could. What might be more fun is if you had that live feel to where you had 10 or 12 kids scattered around you, and
6
you
feet
still
apart.
did the video.
That would be.
Well, I'm just saying it would
I
give
was
it.
thinking about that,
It
but
would
I
give
don't know
it more
how
of
to
a
make
live
that.
feel.
Yeah, I didn't know how to.
Just
make
don't have
that
Jim
happen.
walk behind the camera.
I have to make them get out of the house. Shh. No music, no talking.
Just go sit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
But I'm trying to figure out different ways to make it work. Yeah.
Okay. I would love that.
a
Have
cute-
you guys
it's a
ever
cute
thought
idea.
of it?
No, but it's a great idea.
It is a good idea.
And the
Great
kids
idea.
were, I know mine were super excited. I
Oh,
wish,
I
I'm
can't
gonna have
wait
to
to
send
get
you
the
some of the
answers.
outtakes though of Olivia.
You need to.
She had the giggles that day when we were trying to video it. And it's just
You
a
should see
simple
my
question.
outtakes.
And she would say your name and every time just bust out laughing.
funny.
It was great. I've got them on my phone because they're so
You know,
cute.
'cause sometimes those outtakes they're 10 times more enjoyable than the actual comment on
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Lena's laughing at me because I'll like sneeze or hiccup or something, and she'll just start rolling, and then I'll start. So,
Yeah.
We all have the outtakes.
Yeah.
that. Now
It's
that
fun.
would be great. Deanna, did that picture that I sent you? Now you gave me the coffee and the. Did I win?
You will. Everyone got a prize for participating.
Oh, everyone! I
We
got a
do
participation prize.
prizes. you got the coffee. I
I
guess
got
it's
a
a bonus.
participation award.
Hey, I'm begging them.
That doesn't make me feel. Your show said yes, absolutely,
Yes,
hands
absolutely.
down. You won it. Everybody else was
Well,
terrible, but
I'm
you were
trying to
great.
get them to participate, so they know if they participate in a challenge I put out there, they'll get something,
Oh, listen.
whatever it is. So, not all of them participate, but the ones that do, they get
Yeah,
whatever
but-
I end up getting.
But
that
those
week.
looked great.
So they did a great job.
They did. I'm
They did.
seriously.
I was
that
proud of them.
How
I thought they would forget, and I was going to extend the time, and then I thought no, because nobody had sent me anything, and I was like, maybe I'll just extend it until Sunday if we do a Zoom on Sunday, Then I'm like, nope, if they're gonna do it, they
They're
can
gonna
do
do
it,
it.
and we're gonna still keep it at that. And they came through like crazy.
Wow.
I was getting text. I was like, yes.
It's really cool to see their creativity because my
Yeah.
kids, they're looking online and trying to find the right picture.
Right.
Yeah, it was very
Well, and
cute. But
plus
my
they're
kids were
getting
not
some little bit
convinced
of
that
art,
was
you
you.
know.
Really?
They were not
I'm
convinced.
still struggling to know that's you.
Did you see it,
It
Kathy?
does
Oh, yeah, it was great.
not look like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Allison altered it just a little bit. She put gray
Right.
hair and.
She ruffled it up a little
Yeah,
bit.
we just sent it to Allison and she.
It was great. Well, I appreciate you doing that.
Yes.
because
Yeah, it probably would have been a bit better, but Allison probably didn't want to be bothered with it. So
But I had
No,
to
it
look
was
at
good. It
was
was
great.
very
I had to
good.
look at it twice to see if it wasn't just a copy of the first.
yeah.
yeah.
That's why I was like,
I think
kids said
yours
he
was the
wins.
most,
Authentic.
accurate, authentic.
Well, I
But-
don't know the little girl, doing the Norman Rockwell thing
Oh,
with
that
the
was
black
That
eye.
was Olivia.
Olivia.
God,
That was hilarious.
that
Yeah,
was,
that was really good.
Tell them what
That was-
the person said.
seriously, that was perfect.
It was great. She was so funny though, because I said, I don't have a bench, so let's go into town and there's plenty of benches. And she's like, Mom, what if somebody sees me? I was like, oh, nobody's going to be out there. Well, of course, as soon as we get there, this guy walks up and he says, oh, honey, what happened to your eye? He's like, I've got 2 daughters and 3 granddaughters. I can go take care of somebody for you. So, and then we get in the car and she's like, Mom, you said nobody would see.
So did she pick
So
that
did-
out on her own?
She did.
Did he figure out what you guys were doing?
Well, I had to tell him. I had
Oh,
to explain because
okay.
he thought that she really had a black eye.
It was good. Everybody did so good.
It was
Yeah.
cute.
Oh. How long have you been to church?
me,
Yes.
8 years?
8 years. Deanna, how long have you been at the church?
I really don't know. Over 10.
10. Wow. Kathy,
10
you've been
plus.
here since the Dead Sea was just sick.
Almost 30.
30 years?
Wow.
Wow. You were here before. You were here before I came.
Yeah.
Because
couple years.
I came in '93. You came. Do you remember you and Shane came to Oklahoma City and stayed
Yeah.
with us for,
Yeah, that was
for a
fun.
week? You guys, that was fun. And Angel, you've been here your whole life.
Almost 32 years. I think we moved here when I was 8.
Then we moved here when you were 18. Wow.
Yes.
That is a
It's
long
been
time.
A long time.
Rebecca, how long have you been doing children's ministry?
Since I was 18,
Wow.
since I got saved, they threw me right in. They were having camp and there were 2 kids left. And they had me do a Willie George video. And I still remember the puppet. It says, Proverbs 18:21, the power of life and death is in the tongue. That was my first lesson. And I'll never
We
forget
did a
it.
lot of Willie George.
Yes, Willie George.
Willie George. Yeah, I remember Kimberly when she drowned.
Yeah.
That was back in 80. Geez, I don't know. It was a long time ago. And Willie George was so big at that time. And that was something, as a matter of fact, her picture, her testimony, after she recovered, her testimony was in Willie George magazine. So I still have
Oh,
it there.
wow.
Yeah.
I remember she used to bring that out on occasion out of her closet for,
Oh, yeah.
hey, Angel, look.
Well, hey, that was a special time. Children's ministry. Children's ministry. You like it?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
It's hard not being with the kids every Sunday, every day. That's probably been the hardest thing about this quarantine.
Yeah.
Because as much as I give on Sundays, I receive 100 times more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's fun. And I'll tell you the truth, I once we get out of this thing, I'm trying to think of what are we going to do with the kids, because they're saying that they're wanting the kids to wait just a little bit longer, which I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but it's hard with the kids. It's hard not to have children's church. That is amazing. Deanna,
is
you're
hard.
working with the junior high group.
Yes.
And so, how's the quarantine going with them? Of course, you've got a thing coming up this weekend.
Yes, we have a virtual lock-in, first time Facebook Live on our Crossroads page.
A virtual
I have
lock-in.
no idea
Go to
how
your
it's going to work. We're dropping off supplies to
that's
them
the kind
today.
of-
I don't know.
See, that's the kind of thing that I would do with the young people. Okay, we're going to have a virtual meeting. You go home, and I'm going home.
You go.
I have no idea how it's going to go. But they seem to be, some of the people are engaging and some of them, some of the boys particularly don't care to get on the Zoom meetings we have and things like that. And a lot of them don't. Some of them do. Joseph does sometimes. But there's quite a few girls that will, and then some just, don't want to. So
Right. So, break that out to me just a little bit more. A virtual lock-in,
yes.
and
This was Angie's idea.
a great idea. I just didn't know
Well,
how it was gonna work.
basically, we're going to be doing a Facebook Live, and we'll
Uh-huh.
have all the activities. I'm giving them, they're going to make cupcakes, but they need to have it ahead of time.
Oh.
They'll have the icing that I'm giving them. a couple of minute to win it games, things like that.
Wow.
That's stuff that's in the basket. And then they're doing a painting with a twist, so they'll have the paint and the canvas and stuff like that. And so online, one of the leaders, Molly or Danielle or somebody, is going to lead the decorating of the cupcakes. And, everybody can do their own challenge, kind of a cupcake war, and see who has the best one. They would be interacting. It's different from Zoom because with Zoom, we're all seeing each other. So
This is going
that's
to be
what
like the
we're used
NFL
to.
draft.
It's
So
going to be very different.
it'll be like they'll have to send their pictures under the comments
Yeah.
to what they're doing. And there's a game where there's a poster board and it has balloons and it has say, get a hammer or whatever when we pop a balloon and they have to run do it. Whoever gets back first, there's a big bunch of prizes I got from Dollar Tree. And so if they get that, they'll get to pick that. We'll put their name on it and give them to them. So later, at a later date. They're just minute to win it games, things like that.
How long have you done junior high?
Junior high, since you made me. no,
That's
Since
been
you
a
got-
long time ago.
You got voluntold.
about 10 years.
I locked you in the door and threw the key away.
When you said, will you help out for just a little while?
Oh, yeah.
Other than that, our ministry was mainly high school, middle school mixed. When we were at another church.
That's like when I first came here, the Lord spoke to me. I was sitting on the front row of the church as a Sunday morning, and the Lord spoke to me because I didn't intend to be here. I thought I was going to go to San Antonio, to Houston. I didn't know where I was going, really. And the Lord spoke to me and said, before you do anything else, come here. That's the last time he's talked to me since, and that was 1992.
Wow.
And so, okay, well, it's been 30 years ago, so so you got a few more years.
You got a little
to
bit
go.
of time.
Yeah. That's amazing. Kathy, you've worked with about everything in the church. You've specifically the music, the praise team. How long have you been doing that? Because I'm trying to remember. I don't remember when you first started with the praise team.
Well, I think I did a little bit when we're in that little church, just a little bit with Pastor McCorkle when we first
Really?
came here.
Okay.
But we didn't have like a team.
Yeah.
And then I've done it since we've been in this building.
Yeah. Well, that's been 20 years.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Wow.
I've been part of the team with every leader we've had. So.
Plus, you're also involved in every other activity. I will say one thing. Kathy she's been, of course, like Angel, too. I guess we could go through all of you guys, but she has been absolutely faithful and help
Yes.
in every area. So she's kind of run the ship and pastored the church. And
Clean the toilets, whatever needs to be
Done
done.
all the
That's exactly
things.
right. Yeah.
Do you know that her and Shane were, I want to say, one of our first youth leaders?
Yeah. We were one of the first.
Really?
Yeah.
When we first came here, Shane and I worked in children's ministry together. And then we were trying to just fill in wherever they needed. So
Right.
then we did junior high. And so
Yeah.
it was Stan Mills' daughters and you.
Yeah, that
and
was
Kim,
Hope
Those
and
two,
Kim.
And Kim, and there were several
Yeah.
that were in our youth group.
We were
Is
their
that-
first
and
ones.
she was your youth pastor.
Yes.
That is
And then
hilarious.
the next group we had like Aaron Carter and
Okay.
Melissa
Yeah.
and yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We got a
You've
lot
raised a
Been around.
generation.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really that's the most amazing thing that people don't realize. Get in and you become kind of the parent that raises an entire generation of kids, and you see them that they were so little, and then they grow up, they get married, they have
Yes.
kids, and they've got families of their own. You're thinking, oh my goodness.
And now she's taking care of our kids. I mean, she's on Wednesday night.
On
she's
Wednesday nights, I started
Isaiah
helping,
and Elena's teacher,
Yeah.
and
Started
they
helping, yeah.
they love her.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
starting all over again.
Yeah. Full
yeah,
circle.
we had several, I guess, generations because we had Kim and Angel's group, Aaron and Melissa. Then we had our kids, Leslie and Katie and Ashley and Ariel, all of them.
Wow.
And we're still in contact with all of them.
How do you look so young? That's what I want to know.
That's the secret here.
Now, Angel, you have also you've done children's ministry really your whole life.
Yes.
Puppets. I remember your mom was. I mean, way back when they had.
was little.
Yeah, and so you pretty much have been in the mix here at the church all that time.
Yes. We came here when I was 8, And I remember when I was 12, we had a program called, it was Action Night. So I guess
Yes.
it's kind of the same thing here we have on Wednesdays. But when you turned 12, you got to be paired up with one of the lead teachers, and I got paired with Gigi. And yes. And so it was shortly after that where I was just kind of on my own. I mean, she taught me, I would say she taught me everything I know. And I haven't stopped. I was 12, so 32 years of children's ministry just in this church.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's
I
amazing.
know. And I love it, and I don't plan on stopping
You know,
anytime soon.
well, you know what this says to me though is the fact that really our church has a lot of roots.
Yes.
It's something that has a foundation that's been laid for generations, basically. Now, when did you first? Because I mean, you were basically raised, or seems like raised in ministry.
Yes.
When did you first come? And this is something I was wanting to ask each one of you. When did you first come to your real understanding of your relationship with the Lord? And I'm not talking about the fact that my parents were Christians or whatever, but like when you get suddenly you're isolated out and you realize this is now between me and the Lord. How old were you when that happened?
I was 12. I only ever remember church. I've heard stories of being a week old and being carried into church. So that's all. I mean, if I think back, I think of being a very little girl in church. I vividly remember getting filled with the Holy Spirit when I was 4 years old at home while watching, this is funny, while watching Jimmy Swaggart with my mom. But I remember that. I remember her.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
remember her
goodness.
calling a friend and saying, "Hey, listen to Angel." And I'm just like going off.
Wow.
But I remember 12 years old when I kind of just had that, like, I just love Jesus, feeling. And it has definitely carried me through the years.
Wow.
Yeah, 12 years old.
You know, that's so crazy. I remember getting saved. I was a little boy, but what it was is they had a illustrated sermon of the crucifixion. And I remember I was one of the kids that all came up to get saved. And I remember that going to the altar. I remember I went home because it was a tent meeting. I'd gone with some other people.
Wow.
I went home and told my mother, I got saved tonight. And she said, well, that's nice, dear.
Aw, how sweet.
Oh, to this day, I still remember that. But I really came to that personal awareness at 16. That was the time when it really became an awareness to me. How about you, Kathy?
Well, I guess I was about 8. When I was growing up, it seemed like we were always going to Vacation Bible School.
Yeah.
So every altar call I would go, I was searching, wanted something. And so
Yeah.
I guess back then it was a more like rules and legalistic relationship with the Lord than relationship. And so every chance I got, I was, trying to find the Lord, And so then I guess, so I was in church my whole life. I love God. There was some parts of it back then people didn't know or understand.
Right.
And so then I guess when I went off to Bible college, I was about 19 years old, and we were having a conference, and I'll never forget it. We had it was a ladies' meeting, and we had changed the whole building to look like Israel, like the upper room,
Yeah.
and we were singing some songs, and the Holy Spirit just fell, and I remember finding myself on the floor for about an hour.
Wow.
And I come to know Christ as my friend, as my Savior. I loved God my whole life, but I never knew relationship.
Yeah.
And what I think is so neat about this time we're in right now is that we're kind of back to where we're all at the table together, we're all family, and everybody's hanging out with each other. But the parents now that grew up in the legalistic time now have a chance to have family time like we did when we were growing up, but we can teach our kids about relationships.
Yeah.
True relationship.
We could come back around
Right.
and change it, and change the generation of there's a relationship with Christ, not just legalism.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's I've really thought a lot about that right now. And so
That's incredible. Deanna, how old were you when you really came to your own personal?
Probably about, I remember being 5, but then I'm not sure that I understood that, totally. But I think about 4th grade probably, and I was in church all my life. And I think 4th grade was more of a pivotal point in that, and I just stuck with it. I mean, I don't know. It just grew from there. It wasn't.
4th grade, how old was that?
I think 9,
9 or
8 or
Wow.
8, 9
Yeah,
or
around
so.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why 4th grade stuck with me, but
Yeah.
just that, I remember that for some reason.
Yeah.
Wow.
How about you? How old were you?
Well, see, I wasn't raised in church like everybody is saying. I remember being like kindergarten or 1st grade and a bus coming by in Austin and picking us up. My parents, okay, y'all go. And I love that. And I think that's why I love Kids Church so much, because it reached me so strongly. But when I went to the Texas Baptist Children's Home, they had a camp, and I was 12, and they had an altar call. And I got saved, but I didn't really know relationship. And then when I turned 18, a youth group, a girl in my band, started telling me about Jesus. And I was so angry at him. And my sister started calling me from California, and she started talking to me, and then she'd tell me about Jesus. And I said, if you tell me about Jesus again, I'm hanging up, because I think it's his fault what all happened in my life. And so she'd call, and the first thing out of her mouth was Jesus. Okay. Click. I was stubborn. I felt like I needed to be in control. And so God said he's not done pursuing me. And I thought that was the coolest thing, is how he pursued me. And when she stopped telling me about Jesus, this girl at school started telling me about Jesus. And then they invited me to a youth group, and I thought, okay, I could go to a youth group. That'll get me out of all this mess at home. I can pretend to be a Christian just like the rest of them. And so I did for about a few months. And then we had, over at the Texas Baptist Children's Home, they had a prayer for life. And we stood out there and we stood for Christ. And my stepdad got mad, and he kicked me out of the house.
Wow.
And we were having baptism that night, and I had a rough childhood, so I didn't
How
know how to
old were you
cry.
when this happened?
18 or 17.
Okay.
It was March the 8th.
Okay.
And 1990. And so we were going to go to a baptism, and the leader of the youth group had asked me to stay, and my dad was mad and said, "You just got kicked out of the house." And so I sat on their bedroom bed and laughed. And they're like, "What is the matter?" And I said, "I just got kicked out." And they go, "You want to get saved?" Yes. So I got saved and baptized in the same day. And then the next
Wow.
day, my mother reported me a runaway because she needed me to be her babysitter. She had younger children. And the youth leader, or the leader of this group called Student Venture out of Christ for the Nations Institute in Dallas. It was a youth student venture in the high schools at the time. And she said, "Here, let me pray over you for the Holy Spirit." And I was not raised in church. And she said, "Raise your hands." And I'm sitting there going, "God, if you get me out of here, I will serve you forever." And she was 5 foot, and her daughter was 5'2", and I'm almost 6 foot, looking down going, "Dear Jesus, I don't know what I got into."
What is this?
And anyways, it was a Foursquare church I got saved in, and she prayed for me for the Holy Spirit, and 2 weeks later I woke up speaking in tongues.
Oh, wow.
And so I kind of have a
Wow.
really strong love for the Lord.
You know, this is just the reason I asked that question, especially since you guys all have access into the children's area, as to how many kids, how many adults today, if it weren't for that childhood touch, that childhood conversion, no telling what would have happened.
Yeah.
Which probably, I guess from a foundational standpoint, I don't know that we have anything that happens in the church that is more important than what's taking place with your areas,
Yeah.
with the children's area.
I completely agree. I can look back at just the people who I say helped raise me and mold me, and sometimes fear of them, of disappointing them, sometimes, you know, played a part in that. But mostly, I'm so thankful for having that background, and so thankful now to be able to be, you know, doing the same thing with our kids, because they are our next generation, and they're going to be the next ones doing all the things that we're doing. And so I'm very thankful for that background.
Have the kids changed now? I mean, is the need basic? Doesn't matter what generation, or is this generation different than the last generation? Obviously, they've been exposed to things in this generation. Listen, when I was a kid, we had nothing. I mean, it was nothing. And nowadays, it seems like kids are, you know, little girls don't look like they look now. When I was a little girl, they looked like little girls. But now they've just, you know, these little girls that they look very mature. They look very much older than they are.
Yes.
And so obviously, from that standpoint, it is different. But are you guys finding the training or the talking, or maybe just, can you just maybe address this is where the kids are now comparison to where they used to be?
I don't know that the kids have changed as much as their environments have changed. There's, you know, they're exposed to so many different things. And I know of being a mom of 3, we are very guarded of the things that we allow our girls to watch and our girls to do. And sometimes they don't necessarily like it, and they don't understand. You know, I try to say, oh, you'll understand one day, and they will, but they don't understand that now. So I think that that's what has changed. I think the exposure to things has changed. Things are freely in their hands, from every standpoint.
Yeah.
Social media,
Access.
yes. I mean, it's right
Instant.
there. If they want it, it's right there in their hands. And so we have to be very mindful of that.
Yeah. Does that change the way you teach?
Oh, sure.
In what way?
Well, the thing is technology has made it that God and everything else is so untouchable or touchable that it's almost like God isn't real.
Yeah.
And so the way I teach is I want them to see God in me as I teach, so that they feel it, they hear it, they know it. Whereas if they're on technology, they don't really feel, see, or hear. They just see it constantly.
Right.
So I want it to be a real experience to them. So that's how I approach it.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Pretty much the same thing. It's definitely about having relationships with them personally, because they're on technology so much that they get, you know, who liked my Instagram post or my
Yeah.
whatever, TikTok, you know, whoever liked your whatever social media platform you're on.
But see,
And,
as junior high, though, you're dealing with that much. Well, I say you're dealing with that. Are
Well-
is children's church dealing with that too?
yeah.
Absolutely. It just as much.
4-year-olds.
4-year-olds.
Two-
I have
Two-year-olds?
preschool.
2-year-olds
Yes.
can unlock yours and go straight to YouTube.
Right.
Well, yeah.
And so-
Michael.
Yeah.
I'm sure he gets on it. But that
That's
personal
insane to me.
relationship, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
is like the one-on-one, hanging out with their friend, you know, personally how to interact and how not to take things so personally. Sometimes I think some of our kids feel like everything is bullying when it's not. Maybe it's just a kid disagreeing with them. So we have to, there's a balance to all that.
Yes.
And so because everything has,
Yeah, I think things
There's
have
so
gotten
much.
so sensitive that we've almost created a thin skin to where anything that is said, that's offensive to me. That's just, you know, and without realizing that the whole world is offensive. I mean, it is a total misconception that of people are trying so hard. It's kind of like even with this virus. You know, I understand the idea of protecting, keeping people separate or whatever the case is, but there comes a point to where your immune system needs to kick in and go to work.
Go play in the dirt. That's what
Well,
I tell my kids.
Eat it.
Yeah.
Yes, make a pie.
I was going to say that. That's exactly right. I mean, it was, It was, and it's almost like we try so hard to protect people from things that we actually create an inferior. I was thinking of the World War II generation. All of you have heard the phrase "the greatest generation," whatever, and it truly was because they literally gave of themselves without getting really anything back that they knew of. They just put themselves on the line because there was a need. But I feel like the biggest mistake that they made was they said, my kids will not have to go through what I went through. And as a result, they produced an inferior generation that was not as strong as them. And there's just something about dealing with grief or disappointment or reality or eating dirt that it really does. I mean, it's the survival thing. It's the immune system, the social immune system. Sometimes you only get that social immune system interacted by getting your face rubbed in the dirt, and there ain't nothing fun about it at all. But, I remember, of course, I mean, a lot of people I'm sure would probably choke over this, but when I was a kid, they used to have, what was it, measles parties?
I have heard that.
Yeah. They'd say, hey, all right, this has got measles.
Parties, yes.
Everybody come, and they'd all get together because they're thinking, let's get this on.
What, you have the chicken pox? Come here.
Okay.
Maybe it was chicken pox
parties. I think I
That's
remember that one.
one. I remember it was one of those things, because I remember as a little kid, man, we just...
Yeah.
Come over here and get exposed.
If they had text, they would have put it out throughout the city.
And from a children's standpoint, and all of you, and I'm even bringing this up because all four of you have so much experience with children, I'm wondering, are we really servicing this next generation by protecting them so?
I actually heard a commentary on that, which made a lot of sense. A lot of the immune system that is built in a family comes from their children because they go to school, because they're exposed to things. And a lot of times you don't get the dramatic exposure or crisis because your children are exposed or not exposed, or that's where a lot of them build their immune system. And I found that an interesting commentary.
That is interesting.
Wow.
We had a teacher, a kindergarten teacher, several years ago. She was very clean. She cleaned everything every day with Clorox wipes, everything. And we had a co-teacher, a teacher on the other side that was not very neat. She just, it was okay. And her kids never got sick. Her class was never absent, but the one that cleaned all the time,
Listen,
her kids were absent.
There's
all the time.
something about that.
Yes.
I don't understand it.
I don't either.
But that is, I have seen that so many times.
Yeah.
Families that are so protective, they are usually the sickest ones and the ones that, my dad used to, I mean, he'd come along and he'd wipe he'd lick his thumb and then wipe the dirt off my face.
Yes.
I remember my mom I
actually did that to Jim when we first got married, and he
do
goes, Mama spit is not what my husband's.
Oh, I'm so glad that trend has passed.
So glad we didn't do it.
That is amazing. Okay, my next question I've got for you guys is, all of us have our own place that we retreat to. We have our own place that we, when difficulties come, that we, whether it be music, scripture, something or other that we kind of go to. During this time of this virus outbreak that we've had, and we've obviously been quarantined, let me start there with you, Rebecca. What do you go to? Do you have music that you listen to, particular scriptures?
I just put on Pandora, and then I listen to King and Country or whoever really the mood I'm in. If I'm in a very goofy mood, then I find someone that's goofy, and then. But I have a garden out front with a bench, and the birds just fly in. So my quarantine isn't like most. I'm still working. Jim's still working. I'm still going out of the house. Nothing has changed in our life. Nothing, except for not getting to go see grandkids out of the city.
Yeah.
And not getting to come to church. Now that has been probably the hardest thing. But no, I just sit in my bench, or I pop in my headphones and listen to Pandora.
Do you have any particular songs or scriptures that you lean on mostly during that time? Or is it just kind of the general,
Pretty much general.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times if I'm just worshiping, a song will come and then I'll just sing that throughout.
Yeah.
Or, you know, scripture. And it's funny, I was thinking of one and my thought just went blank just now. But there are at times, my biggest is
same way.
lean on my own understanding.
Yeah.
Because in my background, I have a lot of challenges with rejection. And so my own understanding is Facebook, no one likes me. Because
Oh.
and I think a lot of extroverts tend to not know how to find that fulfillment during this time because they're having to be introverts for a little
Long time.
you know, and so
Hi.
and so I'm having to really find comfort in the music or the reading or you
Yeah.
know.
Wow. Yeah. What is there anything in particular? And I'm not trying to put you guys on the spot to come up with something. I just didn't know if there was something that you.
Pretty much, like she said, listen to a lot of worship music. Cliff's working at home most of the time now, but we'll have worship music on all day long.
So it's music.
And then I tend to walk around the pasture a lot,
Yeah.
just because it's interesting or, you know,
Yeah.
just because I'm like, okay, I need to go walk and not stand here. I don't want to clean the playroom, basically.
I'm tired of cleaning.
But yeah, just different scriptures, not one in particular sticks out, but a lot of worship music and stuff.
Yeah. How about you, Kathy?
I think our family has been standing on Psalm 91 through this. Our circumstance is a little different. We have 2 girls in New York in a
Yeah.
major
that's true.
situation.
Yeah.
Right in
And
the middle of it.
In the middle of it, and they have been
Those poor babies.
They've been very
They've been
strong.
stuck in this room about the size of this table here.
Yeah.
And they've been there and they can't leave. Oh, bless her.
I mean,
New
they've
York
done
City.
one thing that we, as a family, we kind of found out. You know, we all have the same beliefs, we all same values, but through this, Leslie and I had one view on this, the pandemic, and Shani, Katie had another view, and so we were all on the phone, and it was a little heated conversation because
Those are fun.
where we were standing, we weren't arguing, but we were debating
Right.
our
Healthy
faith.
conversation.
And it's like, okay, now our kids are at the age now, we're not telling them what they're supposed to believe, but we're kind of debating with them. But we all had to come together and agree, okay, that's where I'm at in my faith during this pandemic. This is where you are in your faith. You know, ours is, mine and Leslie's was, I believe with my whole heart we're going to be fine. We're not going to get sick. But at the same time, we have concern.
Well, of course.
You know, and
Right.
so ours was, okay, I had to find my truth, and one of my truths was the word says follow, obey the laws of the land. So if they've given us instruction, then let's do that.
Right.
You know, and then Shane and Katie were like, well, we're just believe the Bible 100%, which we do too. But I was like, yeah, but Shane, I don't want you going to work without a mask. I want you doing these things. He's like, well, I'm not going to get sick. I was like, I understand, but. So we were all of us.
You're going to be well in a mask.
We're all going back and forth, you know. And so it's like, and then Gabriel
You're
is
a
like,
good mom.
Gabriel kind of like agrees with all of us, you know. He's like, whoever sounds the
Whoever's
best.
winning.
Yeah. But
Maker
it was
Gabe.
really cool to see us all sit
Yeah.
down, you know, on the phone, kind of, you know. And then part of us wanted to, Shane and I both wanted to just take off and rescue the girls and bring them home.
Yeah.
And things didn't work out that way. And they have grown, and God has done some amazing things in this, because Leslie was just very afraid, and she was struggling, and they were still working. And I said, Leslie, I feel like the Lord's telling me that you are going to be a key player where you're working. Wow. You're going to be able to help them. And her boss, the owner, came to her and said, Leslie, when it first started, he's like, Leslie, help me. I need to know how can we get through this? What are we going to do? And they were searching answers from her. And then they quarantined them to their apartment, and they're working from home, both the girls. And then now Leslie's getting the plans together for the salon on how to open back up and be in the forefront
Right in the front.
Yeah.
of all this. And I was like,
Wow.
there was a reason why we couldn't rescue you and save you out of that circumstance.
Yeah.
It was very hard not to do
You know,
that.
that is, I think that's one of the biggest challenges in us, is that we desperately want to fix things
Yes.
that we perceive as wrong. And the trust factor, to where we really trust that God is governing that situation even when we don't understand it. And the amount of times that I've seen people that after they got on the other side of it, they looked back and said, that was one of the most important times of my life. And had I been yanked out of it, that I would have never
Right.
experienced it.
Wouldn't have lined
So-
up.
Well, she had to face her fear.
Yes.
Leslie had to face the fear, and Katie doesn't have that issue. And so I had to, we're teaching Katie, you got to have a little more compassion because you don't deal with that issue.
Right.
So
So-
your family basically does it by arguing about whether the scriptures are.
No, I was just
I got
making
you.
a point. No, actually, and
I'm messing with you.
they most of my family, except me and Leslie, they spend a lot of time in the Word. Me and
Yeah.
Leslie sing. That's
Yes.
Well-
our thing. And for a while, I had, except for singing at church, to be honest, I was kind of set it down.
Yeah.
And Shane kept saying, "You need to sing. We need that in our home. You need to sing. You need to,
Right.
And I found my voice again during this,
Wow.
and I just wake up singing, and so that's what I do."
Angel, how about you? What do you do? What's your go-to?
Music is always our go-to.
Right.
With Ryan's musical background,
Well,
and
that's true.
and I love worship. That's my heart. That's my thing. So yeah, we wake up in the mornings. We have a pretty good routine. I am a scheduled person. I just work better that way. And so yeah, we get up in the mornings. We start our stuff with music on. And but there's one song in particular. It's, I believe, by Bethel Church, and it's called "He's in the Waiting." And we've kind of stood on this song for a couple years now. But it just says, "Slow down, take time, breathe in," he said. "He'd reveal what's to come, the thoughts in his mind, always higher than mine. He'll reveal all to come. So take courage, my heart, and stay steady, my soul. He's in the waiting."
It's good. That is good.
Wow. That's good.
It is. It's a
That
good
is-
song.
That is good.
It is.
Did you guys, any of you, have any surprises during this time? Anything that caught you by surprise? Good?
I mean, not really. I'm a stay-at-home mom. So yeah, big surprise, homeschooling, 4 kids. Ooh.
Well, I just figured there'd be somebody did something there.
Well, there's always something, let me tell you. So that's probably been our biggest thing. Life has just kind of gone on as normal, except for just having the kids home all the time. And trying to homeschool with a toddler is fun, especially one that's as spirited as little Isaiah. But not a lot has changed. Well, I say that. We've slowed down a lot. We were busy 6 nights out of the week. We were gone. And Ryan's going this way and I'm going this way. And so that has slowed us down.
But
and in a
I
good way.
think that's good.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's
I think
definitely
that's
been
good.
good.
I personally feel like we were out of control.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
almost like we were going 100 different directions and couldn't stop. And that became the normal to us.
Right.
To the point that we literally were just spazzed out
Well,
all
right.
the time.
Well, it almost became uncomfortable when we had to be home because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know what to do,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I saw the old Andy Griffith show, and they're out there whittling on the front porch. I mean, you don't have a life. You need a computer. That's what you need. I got a final question here. This is probably, with guys, this is a whole lot better. But do you have any of the guilty pleasure junk food that you have found during this month? Nothing? You are
My life is still going the same. I haven't really had a hiccup like everybody.
okay.
So I'm not at home searching
Yeah, but
my
that
cabinets.
wouldn't stop me from still finding some guilty pleasure junk food.
Make an
just
excuse.
because.
Tell me about. I've learned so many different ways since we started doing this to eat ice cream that it's just incredible. So yours isn't nothing. Deanna, what's yours?
Probably baking things more. Like I made a pecan pie and a berry cobbler and this or that or the other. I'm like, I keep baking stuff because
You haven't made me anything yet. You haven't baked
I
me
need to
anything.
do that.
I want you to pray about that. I feel like the Lord.
He's leading
I
you.
think we need to
Baked
all,
bread and
I think we
cinnamon
need to
rolls.
all join hands right here and just pray that Deanna would listen to the voice of the Lord.
But what's your guilty?
I have about 40 of them.
That way
That's
we
the
know
truth.
what we're going to bake.
Yeah.
There you go.
What can we send you?
How about you, Kathy?
I
Anything?
really don't have anything. I guess I'm eating cereal.
You guys are so
Ooh,
perfect.
I'm eating Cheerios more. That's about it.
Life on the edge, Kathy.
All right. Life on the edge. All right. How about you? Come on, save me.
Honestly,
Surely you've got something.
I don't. I wish I could say that I did.
That is hilarious.
Good right now.
I have. I've just been trying to live a very disciplined life in that area especially. But I will say, I enjoy a big spoon of peanut butter and pickle and just, it's so
Yeah.
good. Yes.
Butter, peanut
That
butter,
is that's probably my
and
go-to.
pickles, yes, that I
Yeah.
must say that is good. I told someone that some time ago, and they said that's gross. I
Oh,
can't.
it's so good.
So you just haven't tasted
It's
it.
like a
yet. I'm just telling
staple. It's a staple in our house.
you. It's a staple.
It is.
Absolutely.
It's like ketchup and, peanut butter and pickle.
We've
What-
had to learn. The one thing we've had to learn is how not to be empty nesters again. Because Gabriel's back home.
Yes, Gabriel's home from school.
So we
That'll
were
learn
enjoying that, and now we got to start
Yes,
over.
oh,
I
starting
noticed
over.
because they were smiling all the time.
Now you're
I
going
go,
to
what? What are y'all? Oh, the kids are all gone.
I was like,
Oh,
man.
my two daughters are in New York. Take your time. Take your time. Don't hurry
Stay
back.
with the pen.
Gabe, don't you think you need to take one more semester of walking by faith?
Well, Kevin Powers, he gave us the word, and he said, "You're going to be in this season, but it's going to be short." And I was like, "Wow, it was really
was short.
Yeah. That's way too
That
short.
happens
very
a lot
short.
with adult children.
You know, you asked that question about the surprises, and I didn't get to answer. We watched the Passion of the Christ because Lena she doesn't know faith. This is all new to her. And so we watched Passion of the Christ, and she started asking questions, and she said, I got saved at Pastor T's because I knew you were going to adopt me, and I wanted you to adopt me. I didn't want you not to adopt me.
Wow.
But now that I've watched this, I really know Christ.
Yeah.
And so that has been, I think what I love about this quarantine is every generation needs something to remind them Christ really does exist. And that's one of the things that I was seeing with our youth is they were really without a northern star. And it seems like this is allowing them to really be home and not have all the voices telling
Right.
them where to go, what to do, how to do it.
Yeah.
But like you were saying when we first started talking, it's getting back the faith of our generations before us. Even though I didn't have one, but the churches would bring me and take me, and I got those coloring pages. Those coloring pages changed my life.
Yeah.
I still remember them.
Isn't that awesome?
And so that's one of the coolest things that's happened in our life is that Lena is learning about being adopted, but knowing what a real family and faith really is.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that.
Wow.
That is really awesome.
Well, I have really enjoyed visiting with you guys today. And I wanted all of our church to get an opportunity just to hear just a little more from your hearts as to what you were thinking and what you were doing. Obviously, we're not going to get any junk food from you, so
I don't know. I have a soft spot for no-bake cookies and lemon pie, So if anybody's listening, they could hook me up.
yes, we can team up and go through the church,
Yes.
I'm telling you. Well, this has been good. This has been good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for your service, your ministry, your consistent, dogged determination to be faithful to the family at this church. You guys literally are pillars. This church would not be the same without you, and that is a fact. I'd want everybody to know that. So, thank you for all you do, and I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
All right, here's to you guys.